Over to you, Pete.
Thank you, Andy. Sorry, just unmuting myself. Yeah, thank you. And hello, everybody. Yeah, I'm part of the organising team here with my colleagues Heidi and Luke. And yeah, really great to see so many people. What an amazing room of people and organisations. I hope you're as blown away as I am by this room this evening. Tonight, just for our last 25 minutes, we're going to just focus specifically on this listening moment and the listening campaign that you've been invited to participate in. And just acknowledge off that we're coming at this from a range of different experiences. Some of you are old timers, you've been a part of organising and done listening many times before. Perhaps some of you are a bit newer to the organisation, and but you're excited and you're willing to learn how we think about listening and how we do that and get involved in a listening team. And perhaps others of you, you've just been invited along by someone that you know and respect. All of the above, it doesn't matter. You're so welcome, and we're really looking forward to working with you and learning how to listen well in this challenging time. And we're just going to open up a space over the next few minutes to learn from one another, and I suppose for each of us individually and in our listening teams, if we form those already, to decide how we might want to take this forward. So thank you for coming. I just really want to echo what Andy said. Like, this gives us hope. This gives me hope to see this room of people. When we've said it before, when we take action, however that may look like, it gives us hope that we can change things for the better. And we need that right now. There's so much hopelessness out there. And perhaps some of you are kind of wondering whether we should even be doing this social justice stuff right now. Shouldn't we just be hunkering down in our organisations and communities and, you know, battening down the hatches and just kind of looking after our own? But actually, our experience here in Nottingham Citizens, it's the stuff out there, in the community when we connect externally. That's the stuff that gives us hope and life and energy. And so, you know, our hope as a leadership team and organising team is that you will leave in 25 minutes more hopeful about the change that we can make when we come together to work for the common good. So, listening. Why listen? It's been said before, but I think for a moment, forget about Nottingham Citizens, forget about community organising and the organisation that you're joining in with tonight. And acknowledge, I think, that listening is a radical act of recognition of other people. And when we have a rhythm of regular listening in our organisations, they're strengthened, they build relationships of trust, and actually they unlock new leadership potential in our organisations because we better understand people, how they might want to participate, what their gifts and skills and passions are. And so I hope you hear that listening is not primarily about campaigning, although it is about campaigning as well. And Andy really helpfully shared when he talked about the 5 steps of social change, that if we want to change stuff down at, you know, in 2021 and beyond, the quality of our listening is really important. So, you know, listening is great in and of itself, but we also need it if we want to be interested in social change. Why listen now, in the middle of a pandemic? I mean, surely this is the worst time in the world to be starting a listening campaign. And I've had conversations with people in our own alliance who have said, "What, really now? You want to listen now? Like, that doesn't seem the right time, Pete." And we acknowledge that, you know, we're holding these things in tension, that people are feeling pressures, there's challenges, there's stress. But on the other hand, it's because of those pressures and stresses and challenges that this listening moment is vital. And our leadership team felt very strongly about this, that if there was ever a time to draw alongside other people, then now is it. And so we're going to have to find ways of connecting with people. And certainly from the outset, we want to allay any fears. We don't want anybody to break the law. We want you to follow public health guidelines and look after yourself and those that you're trying to connect with. And so we're going to have to be creative, and we'll dig into that in a few moments. The other reason why listen now is because we last listened together as a whole organisation over 2 years ago now. And as an organisation that is funded by you, the members, this is in a sense a moment of ongoing democracy. We kind of want to check in on some of those themes that we just heard about. Are these ongoing priorities for us as an organisation? So we want to just check in, and we're really open to some of those campaigns continuing and being relaunched in a sense in the new year. And so just on the timeline, just a reminder on where we're headed. Tonight is I suppose the official launch. Some of you have already started listening. That's great. Some of you are still getting together your teams and working out how you want to be involved. But tonight's the launch, and then we are provisionally working on a timeline between now and the middle of January. So the 14th of January is our provisional date where we'll come back together, most likely on Zoom again, and we'll start to hear those stories. We'll vote on the issues that are relevant, and then we'll form those new campaign teams. And again, I say it's a provisional date. We'll be in conversation with you all. If it makes sense to kind of push that back for a month to give us more time, then we're absolutely open to that. So we will see how we get on. How will we listen? A couple of just broad things to remind us of. So we want to listen through the lens of the current pandemic and find out the pressures that people are experiencing now because of COVID and lockdown, etc. But we also want to listen through the lens of the current issues that we're tackling to see if we can draw any new stories and energy into that work. Don't worry about the questions you're see on screen. One of my colleagues is going to put a document in the chat which is around thinking through and planning your listening. And some of you have had this already. It might be new to some of you, but all these questions will be there. And these are just some questions we're giving you to get you going. And we want to encourage you in your listening teams and organisations to listen how you want. If there are particular themes or issues you want to listen into that you think are relevant for your community, go for it. I know some people are really have been thinking about doing some listening around climate. Well, go for it. Listen how you want. It's your listening. So that's a little bit about how we want to listen through those lenses. But the second thing is to say, just a reminder, I suppose, of the key principles of the kind of listening that we're encouraging in community organising. And that's to say that we're less interested in data as we are in people and experiences and real stories of what people are facing in our city. And so that means this is about quality more than it is about quantity. And hopefully you'll be encouraged by the fact that you're joining your listening with a whole bunch of others. So we'll get some of that quantity as well, but really focus on the people and the stories and how you can build relationships through the course of your listening. So just some really quick practical ideas before we stick you into breakout rooms to share what you're thinking and bat around some ideas together. How might you want to do it? One-to-one relational meetings. These are the most powerful tool that we use in community organising. Two people sitting face-to-face, either online or in other means, and sharing what they care about and what they're facing in their life. If you want to know more about that, there's another document, a resource that colleagues pop in the chat. And we also have a training session this coming Thursday. Again, the link to register for that will be in the chat. You might want to do some online group meetings. Traditionally, we call these house meetings. That seems a very inappropriate name. So we're calling them group meetings. And they're essentially the collective equivalent of a one-to-one. It's a 45 to 60-minute guided conversation between 6 to 10, maybe 12 people to understand some of the issues you're facing and what you might have in common. You might even want to bring some of those I suppose group meetings together and have them run concurrently, particularly if your organisation is using Zoom. You can bring people together, send people off into breakout rooms and run several group meetings all at once. Questionnaires, I mean, we've always kind of shied away from using surveys and questionnaires because of that relationality that we want to encourage. But actually, as a kind of, first start for some of your listening, this might be a good way just to reach a bunch of people. The key here is making sure there's an invitation in your surveying to follow that up with a conversation or a group meeting, so that actually you can get to people and story as well as getting some data. Maybe you just want to pick up the phone. Bit old school, but maybe that's something that you want to build in to your listening plan. Even more old school, maybe you could do a letter writing campaign. Hey, let's be creative, why not? That might really appeal to some people in your organizations and in your listening teams. We've heard already about those mutual aid groups, those WhatsApp groups that have been popping up over the last 6 months. I don't know, maybe yours has gone a bit quiet. Maybe this could be a time to revive it and send out some messages and see who's up for a listening moment and connecting with you and people in your organization. Maybe you could do a neighborhood walk with people in your bubble. Spot the fight on your doorstep, arrange a one-to-one with somebody, socially distance, walk around and have a one-to-one as you do that. But what else? What are the other things that you're thinking through? What other ideas do you have that we just haven't thought about yet? There'll be loads of creativity, I'm sure, in this room. So what we're going to do now is we're going to pop you back into some breakout rooms, and we'd love you just to have a brief open conversation. How is this making you think about how your organisation could engage in this listening moment? What ideas do you have? What questions do you have? And we want to start logging these and so that we can share them and learn from one another. And the way that we're going to do that is by using a couple of online Jamboards. So again, check the chat. There'll be a couple of links to two basically notice boards that we can all add to, and we'll leave these open through the course of the whole listening campaign. So click those links if you're able to, or you can see the tiny URL links that I've popped on the PowerPoint. I'm just going to show you very quickly what it looks like by sharing my screen. So give me a moment and I'll pop this up. And don't worry if you can't click the links, because we'll share these out after tonight, and I'm sure others in your group could perhaps add your ideas for you. So there's two different Jamboards. This one here is the ideas. So all you have to do is go over to the left here and click this little sticky note thing, choose a color you like, and share your idea. And then obviously just hit the button there. So this one here is, we're going to use our existing midweek online gatherings to listen. Great idea, just to use your existing structures. This doesn't necessarily have to be a big endeavor. Where are the spaces where your people and your communities already meet? And then the second one is questions. Now, what's this making you think? Like, what problems is this throwing up for you? And yeah, we really want to kind of log those and try and understand and tackle those together. So someone said, what happens if the public health guidelines change again? Yeah, great question. And we can tackle that stuff together. So I'm hoping that makes sense. We're gonna do this for 8 to 9 minutes. I know it's not going to be satisfactory, and we're going to want to do this for longer. But this is just to get us going, log some ideas, and then we'll come back together and we'll share all these links, and we'll support one another with the listening in the coming weeks and months. So I'm going to get you off back into your breakout rooms, and we will get going shortly. There you go, you've had your invitation, and we'll see you back in a few minutes.